As health, wellness, and beauty experts, you know all about keeping a calm, peaceful space. But what about your business? Is that pretty calm? I'm Erika, business operations expert and your host of the Business Flow Formula podcast. Each episode, you'll get real-world advice and strategies from people who have been there and done that and live to tell the tale, so you can clarify, streamline, and elevate your practice from the inside out.
Yeah, my business is called Living to Be Awesome. I basically use movement as a tool to people be more awesome at life, typically working with women in transition. So whether that be motherhood, menopause, caring for your parents, career transitions, but using movement from that lens to help them really connect to themselves and put themselves in alignment. So using nervous system regulation, and so calling myself a somatic strength coach. So I am in love with kettlebells. I love kettlebells. So using strength training to make you not just strong physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. I started Living to Be Awesome. Actually, my logo, it is a phoenix. And so a phoenix breaks down and come back stronger. So that's what happened for me is I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I did daycare for 10 years. I co-owned a gym. I've done all the multi-level marketing, 3 different kinds of companies. I've just always been wanting to be my own boss. But when Living to Be Awesome was born, it was kind of interesting on how it evolved, because I was already had a gym at that time, was more of I was a CrossFit, I was a CrossFit coach, and it's like a CrossFit gym. That kind of fell apart with and having to move away. And at that time, I actually just was moving away from the fitness world, and actually had a job as a customer service agent with WestJet. And I absolutely loved it. And it was really awesome. Then people were like, well, what are you doing? And what's happening? And COVID happened and I lost that job. And I'd already done this Instagram page called Living to Be Awesome. Someone said to me, you know what, Aimee, you're like a phoenix. You always come back stronger. So I just started to grow my business from there. And I've been just pivoting, and I've been really good at pivoting and being able to match. I did, and I just was able to realize that this is what I do really well. I did that. I worked as an educational or as a developmental service worker before I got pregnant, and then it wasn't working for me to be working shift work while my husband was working, and we were both single parenting. So then I created a business of my own home daycare, and so I could be with my kids and we could be making it work for us, and just been on this path of pivoting and being able to evolve with the outside world. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's what I'm really good at. And yes, I love strength and I love movement. Movement's been my therapy, my medicine. And so now I just combine them both. And that's how I am here with Living to Be Awesome. And it's 6 years old now, in October.
That's amazing. So throughout all of that journey, obviously you learned a lot of things through the processes, whether that is co-owning a gym or being a customer service representative at WestJet, which talk about completely nearly opposite things. How did those things that you learned at, I guess, your previous experiences shape where you are now? And what did you take from them, whether positives you absolutely want to make sure that you do that with Living to Be Awesome, or negatives absolutely not?
Things that I have taken is I love community. I love community. That's a huge thing. So that's a huge part of my business is community and having a team and having people work with you. I have 2 amazing coaches that help me coach my classes when I'm not able to, learning to accept help and not doing the things that I don't like to do, energy output to the things that just drain me. And so I can be better at what I am really good at, and just giving people a space. And it took me a while to get there. It took me a while to actually realize that that's what I got to do as a business owner, not that, had to do all these things. I get to just be that person that is really good at making someone feel safe in my space. And now I just know that I do everything to preserve that, because that's why my business is successful, is because of the energy I bring to it, the energy leadership. And so that's one of my really big core values is energy leadership, and how are you showing up with every piece that you do? Can I come and own how I'm feeling showing up to, the back end stuff of a business that you just don't really love to do? Can I just come in and know how long can I be in this energy to do this and set that up? Okay, when it's no longer feeling that I'm in alignment, it's getting harder. So I gotta shut it down and move forward. And maybe sometimes that's when I learn that's the part that someone else could do for you. And that took a long time as being an entrepreneur, because I'm kind of a control freak. Like I want it to be like, I want it to be done this way. And I also found it really hard just to kind of communicate that. So it took me a while to work through the ideas of communicating that, because there's a lot of shame around the fact of some of the business things I didn't know. That's my own personal experience, but I feel like being able to be aware of where you are, personally as well as you show up in your business, and being able to honor that and grow that as well.
And so when you talk about, the areas of business that maybe you're not the most confident in, what things did you do or what habits do you have now to help you through those areas where maybe you're not as confident? Did you hire a coach? Did you hire someone in those areas, whatever they may be, to help you through that? Or how did you work through that confidence?
Hiring a coach, and like had a business coach, I would say it's just very new for me to be accepting, because I honestly, what I was doing is like, oh, here's an app, that's going to make it easier. And then having to learn the app and getting frustrated on the app, and then the app's not helping. And so, yeah, it's been a big trial and error, but yeah, I now have some people in my life that they help me with my, like, I'm in QuickBooks, and I'm just like, okay, how can I simplify this? How can you make this a system, and not, and just being like, no, like you literally got to tell me that, like, down to this point, like I'm not, you can't assume that I know anything right now. I'm like white knuckling this too. And you know what? Another thing that was really helpful is the energy management behind it. Because I already had a belief that I wasn't good at it. I already thought it was going to be hard. And so many times I've been like, oh, that's actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be. That was just like the noise I was hearing from other people talking and making my own story around it. Whereas I was like, I'm kind of like old school, and I really love to write it down. Like I was like, well, what's wrong with like writing that down? And now once I gave that permission, I'm like, well, actually I don't like writing it down. I can put it in this app now. But like soon as I was just like, no, you're doing a great job, Aimee. You're surviving, you're helping people. If you look at that core mission of your business, and that has been really helpful for me. So I work a lot with helping people with their mission statement, changing habits. And it's really funny that you can help people do that. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, huh, I'm doing that in so many areas, but like not here. So I talk to people a lot about the brain's mission statement, which is seek pleasure, avoid pain, and do so with as little energy as possible. And so I come back to that. I'm like, oh, this is why this isn't sticking. Like this feels like so much work. And this is painful. Like I just don't even want to show up to it. That I kind of bounce things up against that. And like I've used that mission statement to like, I'm sorry, I'm just like pulling it up. This having this podcast, I was like, it really was beautiful. You gave me the questions. I'm like, hey, like I just see everything as growth. So it's just like, oh, I'm going to polish up my mission statement.
So it sounds like you revisit your mission statement from time to time and adjust it to fit where you are in your season of
Exactly.
life.
Yes.
And then is it fair to say that when I asked you to come on this podcast, you're like, "Oh, let me go and revisit it." Is that what happened?
100%. And I'm constantly just, yeah, like, because I have in the last little bit, like, really changed and evolved, and having a lot more trust in something that I've realized in the last little bit is like my passion for my business is still here, but my passion to grow it and make it bigger and do more and be more and reach more, maybe still want to reach more people, has changed for me. And so being able to honor that I'm in a season of wanting to slow down and what that means for me. Yeah, where I'm like accepting, and you asking that question of what have you learned, I have really been programmed to constantly be wheels turning. Like when I'm moving, when I'm doing an exercise that is for me, I'm like, oh, this is so great. I got to write this down. This will be so good for so and so. This will be so, oh, I could write a program with this. Oh my gosh, like, oh, this could be good content. Let me put this on, maybe I should get my camera out and video it. And so that's where I come into that energy leadership of just be like calling out my own, like, okay. And realizing that with me giving myself permission to dial back, I have 4 sessions. The odd time I will shift it. And that's mainly because I'm going on vacation. But like 4 in-person energetic sessions, I know is my max right now. I find it fascinating that I gave more of that energy in my past and how I did it and how I didn't fall apart. And when I was slowly, it showed up in certain ways. And, lots of times I'm like, why am I doing this? I just want to go work for someone else. And I got like, and then I'm like, wait, no, you don't, because like right now, my husband has 9 weeks vacation and I take them with him. I have a hybrid of my business where I've created it to be more creative. And that's because I've dialed back and went, oh, wait, like this can work. But it took me a while to work on my energy management to be in the energy of like, more is better, or like I got to be growing it, I got to be doing this. And so that was like, okay, leadership, you got to accept some help, you're going to dial back. That was my biggest resistance. That was my hard work in the beginning, was just to be okay with like, wait, I've set these boundaries and now I'm like panicking, like I'm forgetting something. Like it's just like you're just sitting and like, okay, but I know I forgot something. Like I must have forgot something. And so it was I would say that's been my biggest thing for me. It's just to energy of how I'm showing up and honoring that, and checking in on that, and just, am I moving in the feeling that I hope to, right? Am I in alignment? Like my biggest core value is authenticity. And so just being able to bounce that, like, like that mission statement, like the brain's mission statement is like, is this authentic to who I am, or is this me following into something that I think I should do, that I've heard, that I've listened to someone else and it's really working for them. And I'm like, I think it's great. Like you said, like, I think it's amazing skill that I have, that I've grown to be like, oh, I'm going to go on a podcast. I'm going to talk about my business. Okay. This is an opportunity for me to grow, but I got to bring myself into it. Not what does Erika want to hear from me? What do the people that listen to Erika's podcast want to hear from me? And so once I've done that, my marketing is just like, I'm just myself. And like if someone asks me, I feel like I don't have a strategy other than be myself and line it up against that mission and be like, okay, is this going to be something that the people I want to reach want to hear? Does this feel like I'm pushing it? Like, does it feel like like, to me, if I'm like spending more than 15 minutes on a post, like the content of it, I'm not great at editing and all the things, and that might take me longer. That's where I feel like I'm almost 50 years old. Like, I'm like, okay, this part's just, I didn't grow up doing this, so it's a learning curve, but I do enjoy it. So I'm okay to spend the time on it. But if it's taking more than that, I just walk away and go, okay, save the draft, come back. If it's not just feeling flowy and like, yeah, here, like a natural conversation that you would have with someone when they talk to you about what you offer, then I really learned to walk away and give myself time and space, and realize I come back and I'm every single time go, just like, that's amazing to me that I found that so hard. 15 minutes ago.
I really feel that some days when I am creating content. When I first started my business and I was doing all the marketing myself, I was just like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
so much time and energy. This isn't
Mhm.
authentic to me. How can I do this differently? When it comes to, I guess, making the shift quite literally in your energy when it comes to managing your business and showing up for your clients or online and that kind of thing. How did you make the shift from like, here's what society, I guess, if we can look at it that way. How does society want me to show up versus how do I want to show up, and going the way that you want to show up and not worrying about what the rest of society says or suggests that you should do. When I say society, I mean like there's a lot of conversations online about how you should show up for your business or you need to post X many reels a week or those kinds of things. And just kind of taking that and being like, none of that matters. I'm going to do what feels good. How, why, when did you make that shift? Or maybe you still are in it.
I feel like I'm gonna constantly be in it because it's my character. Like it's and I'm honoring it. One of my things that I say in coaching as well that is have kind of like thrown into one of my core values is meet yourself in the middle of just being able to sit back and go, okay, here it's kind of like a pros and cons, just being basically trial and error of like I'm either I used to be, I am no longer that person of speaking, but I'm either like all in and content every day. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do content for like a month. Like it just, so being able to call out that pattern and notice that and having lots of crash times, lots of times where I was just like following that pattern and then just being aware of it, like, and being able to catch it now before it happened. And so that's basically how it happened. I really believe that I was called and my passion is this business. So all the clients that have come to me, they come in, I see their patterns so clearly. And then I give them this great advice. And then I was noting that that was great advice, but because authenticity is my strongest, like most strongest, I'm like, I gotta listen to that advice. I'm gonna like apply that. And so I'd say that's how it happened for me was just, again, knowing who I am, knowing my values, knowing how I wanna show up and using my coaching business and how I am showing up and then being able to go, okay, shoot, there's the little snag. There's the snag that if I don't move, will take the to things out, like unravel, right? You just slowly unravel. Like if you think of like in a sweater, right? It would just be like, ooh, if I don't kind of notice that and sit with that. And it's funny because I did accept help and it was great, but also, like, when you accept help, question their help. Question if it works for you. Like, and I don't mean question it as if it's, but I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure if it's completely what works for me, but I could take pieces of that. I like pieces of that. And that's where the meet in the middle comes like, oh, okay, well, I am going to take that and maybe I'll give it a try, but ooh, I actually still have to make sure that I'm connected to my core values and my mission. And then where do I make my own little plan here? Like, well, this is how it works for me because this one feels good. And there's times where you have to call your own stuff out and go, does this really feel good? Or are you just feeling confident? And that is just doing the work. And that's really built my confidence because I mean, today I'm like, hey, I've been an entrepreneur forever, but I would say 2 years ago, I was like, well, I did daycare. I mean, while I did daycare, I had 5 kids under 2 plus my own. So like 7 kids under 3, we'll say. And I had to deal with their parents, different personalities, fed them, managed all those things, had an income that made us be able to still have a family. And that is pretty incredible, right? And being able to be, well, I had a business, but it like a partnership failed, I don't know if I'm really. And in that one really did crush me. And I would say even maybe took even further step backwards because the saying was it's just business. So I was like, well, business sucks. I don't like business. This feels gross. This feels disgusting. Ew, I don't want to do this. And so having to work through my own new definition of business and doing the work and getting to evolve and get to make like that's what I love about being an entrepreneur is because I can stay in my authenticity and I can pivot and you're not going through systems hearing people that are like, well, I'm gonna have to go through this and this if I want to make this change because and I'm like, well, I go through that through me and decide if that's a change, then the changes happen and we get to grow and it gets to be like, to me, my business is just like a nervous system. Like it has a pulse, and I just gonna let that pulse. Sometimes it's up here and it's gonna titrate. Here's this regulation line, and sometimes I'm up here, but I know that that means that I'm gonna have this rest. But maybe I have little peaks. For most of the time, I'm just kind of going up and down, and I can do that all day long. Like that happens during the day, but then also at weeks times. There's certain times, especially when you're in the fitness world, like September is like, okay, like let's get them all in. Let's like get that, there's gonna be times where, but I do know that I have the system in place to know, okay, but if that's gonna happen, here's what's gonna, and just learning from your mistakes and welcoming. I'm now at this point where I'm like kind of like a little giggle when I've messed up or I'm found myself back close, because now I'm pretty clear when I'm getting close to that edge. I don't wait for the fall. And notice that when that happens, there's actually like this cool thing on the other side, that there's going to be like an opportunity for this system to clean up. There's something you've been missing, and you're like, okay. And so then that allows for true growth. And one of the coolest things for me is I work less but make more.
When it comes to making that shift, because I know when we spoke offline, you said that you were working like 4 hours a day right now and you're making more. Is that because you're just simply charging more, or is that because you have just found ways to simplify your business so that you're not spending all this money and energy and time pouring into your business and then burning yourself out?
Exactly. It was both. Yeah, you know what? I think that I started to like take away those things because they were costing too much, because it wasn't making sense, right? You're like, okay, I'm going out of panic. I had the idea that I knew that I wanted to streamline this and make it more simple. So then I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll use that. I'll use that. And meanwhile, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like these apps are all like, yeah, they're great, but they're adding up. Took those all away, sat with it, and before I couldn't raise my rates. It just wasn't sitting with me. I couldn't do it. Like it just was, I didn't have the confidence, I didn't have the energy, I didn't have the realization of what my worth was, because I wasn't giving myself worth. Like I was just like I'm just juggling and trying to put out all these fires, if you will, but not really, just temporary fixes. I feel like I call them Phoenix moments. Everything fell on me, crashed again, right? Here we are. Amy's back pivoting. Oh my gosh. So I had a studio. It made sense when I started, but then, just as business does, I had to close it again because I realized like this overhead is just not making sense, and I'm doing this because it's for everyone else and not for me. I was like trying to make this sense, and I'm over delivering and under appreciating, but I couldn't see how I could move from that. So it was about taking that all away, dialing back, coming to me, getting more clear on my vision, my mission, my core values. And then I saw my worth. And then I was like, no, here's what I get. This is what you get from me. I am so different than coming into a class. I am going to give you this, this, and this. And so here is my rate. And I'm with you inside, outside your session. And now I have that capacity. And I love, it's because I've come to this hybrid model, like seeing people, and then because I go on vacation, I'm like, okay, I'm gone for 2 weeks. Here you go. Here's your workouts. Here's what, but we're in an app, and I get to be like, like my husband's like, what are you smiling at? Like, oh my gosh, just one of my clients just like had a realization. Like, and I'm on vacation, but so yeah, I say I'm on vacation, I'm not working, but I am. But I literally love getting the messages. I'm like, oh, like excited to check them because I've took care of me first, made sure I'm in my energetic alignment, making sure that I am sitting with those core values, knowing what I am. And so, yeah, I charge more, but I deliver more, and it just feels really in alignment. And then there was just more, I could see more spaces of where like this doesn't make sense. So let's clean it up. Like, why didn't I see that these two could go together and that this would look like this? So it's a combo. It's a combo of like taking away the things and then actually getting the support that I need that was in alignment, not like a band-aid.
Something I've been thinking about in the last few weeks is just simplifying life a little bit more. And I go through this season professionally and personally, but it's really where I look at my work life. I'm like, wow, I've overcomplicated it. Something has happened. and I overcomplicated something. How do I simplify this? Or in my personal life, it's very easy to overcomplicate it. We move around a lot due to my spouse's job, and naturally, everything just gets way too complicated over a short period of time. And then we start like unraveling it and making it more simple. But I still have to here, even we're a year out of a move, and I'm like, okay, life is starting to feel complicated again. Why is it complicated? What have we overcomplicated? Are we too busy socially? Are we too busy around the house? Are we too busy XYZ? And it's always the too busy. And I think hearing what you're saying is you took the busy and you just made it easy, which is a very simplified way of like, oh yeah, you just took busy and you made it easy. Was there a lightning moment, or I guess a phoenix moment, where it was, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to try this method and see if it works, and it did? Or was it just reiterate, reiterate until you're where you are?
There's a bunch of them. Actually, an interesting one is my kids left my home, like empty nester, and that was a pretty crushing moment for me, which it literally took me out of left field. I'm proud. Like I raised those kids. I raised them to fly. I'm like, yes, let's go. And there was just a piece of me that fell apart, that didn't have capacity anymore to be in the energy. So that they left, like, well, they're like 8 months apart that they left, and then that was like November, and then I closed my studio in March of that year. So I would say it was definitely like my heart was just a little bit broken, and I just didn't have, my nervous system was crashed, and that's where really I've pivoted. I've been doing this kind of work forever. But wasn't able to put it into words either. Like I also couldn't tell you what I did. I wasn't clear. Like I didn't have that clarity in my business. Like I was like, well, I'm like a life coach that like uses movement, like that people come to me like it's, but I don't have before after picture. I knew it, but I couldn't, like there was just, I had no voice in it. That I would say has just really evolved over. And it wasn't overnight. Like I just say, like I said, it's constant. And I still will get like, oh, are we doing this again, Aimee? I'm this time, like like time of my life, I'm so grateful that that voice is quieted. I did that voice for 25 years. Like the fact that I think it's just gonna go away, right? Because I've been doing business since that time, and just now being able like to look at, like I said, like, okay, yeah, we are just evolving. We're getting more clarity. We're actually getting to the real you, Aimee. Like the real, which is also so interesting that I find. I believe in like true synchronicities. Timing is everything, the way it's meant to evolve. Knowing about the brain, there's this reticular activating system, right? That's in our brain that's just filtering out the stories that you believe are true. So like we're getting a million things put at us all the time, but your brain is going to work for you to prove you right. So if you have stories of scarcity, of this being hard, of like this, I have to work hard to be valued, that means I'm great. If I'm doing hard things like that, I am killing life. I was looking for all the hard things to show that I was doing it right. And now I've just, with doing the work and changing the stories and the beliefs that I have, I now see the world differently. Like I just see that as opportunity. I still see, oh, there's challenge. And then I also see that sometimes I can't cope with that challenge. And just being able to go, okay, what story is holding us back here? What do we need to go to? And to me, that coming to my core values and coming to that mission of like, okay, are we moving in with intention? Are we doing small things to get the big results, or are we looking for a big result here, only going to get a small? What's the feeling behind this is basically what I have come to. That has been, and then like you said, in all areas of my life. And so that's part of my value too. We're using movement, but we're teaching you on exercise is stress. How are you showing up to stress? A conversation, your business, traffic, hormones, health, all of them. It's like, how are you showing up to that? So to me, in my business, I get the opportunity to see lots of different nervous systems come through. And I take it, I've been given a gift to be able to see that and know what the right thing is to say. And then I feel like because I do that, and have authenticity that comes back at me and I learn from them. I'm like, oh, okay, I can see a piece of me in this. What can I take from this? And so after every session, I make sure there's 15 minutes just to let their energy go and then come into my own. I see the world differently after every client I see, after every challenge I have. So there's a piece of me that gets slightly excited about difficulty because that is something that I always had and I get to keep it, but I change it in just the lens of it and the energy behind it. That's where I come with that energy leadership.
I mean, we've talked a lot today about like the energy that we bring into our business, making sure we're not over giving our energy and those kinds of things. And we also briefly spoke on like you're working less, making more. And a conversation that I have because I'm really heavy in the finance side of businesses is what is enough? Like when is enough enough? How much money, how much time, how much employees, how many employees? I do numbers, not words. How did you know or how do you know when enough is enough?
That is such a like an interesting slippery slope for myself because I again because of this authenticity I think I had and we're all going to be unique and we're all going to be different, but what really is of value to me and what I see as abundance is time, is freedom, is space, is vacations, being able to not be like for me that's how I know enough is enough, like that I can still pay all my belt, not be in debt, have my home, do all those things. But the thing is that we, over COVID, we converted a van into a camper. And that was like our little getaway, which was so great as our kids left and, reconnecting with my husband again because we've been co-parenting and just getting to learn to know each other. In the van, we have one spoon, one fork, one knife, one cup. That was, and if you ask about pivotal moments, that made me realize that I've been looking at this all wrong. I crave that. That feels so in alignment. And I've hired the coaches and I've had moments where I'm like, these big launches and these courses, they were really great, but I'm excited to be able to do them again. And I see them coming into my future very soon now that I'm getting more clear and I can do it from the energy that wasn't all of the rules and the shoulds and the things that I should do. And I just realized that how do I know enough is whenever I wasn't happy there. I was like, that's where I was putting band-aids on. And that's where I was doing this. But that's me. Other people like thrive on different things. I think a lot of people couldn't live in a van. Like I literally dreamed to be online in my future and be able to just go in my van or a tiny home. Like I crave smaller. I crave that's what I want. So it's whatever your vision is, but my vision knew that it was enough now that I'm clear on what actually brings me, grounds me, makes me feel good is like being in nature, having more property, less home. Like even in my business, really like here's the things that I do, less. I think that's where sometimes like right now it's so simple. I'm like, am I missing something? Like because like they're like, oh, I gotta do my, and I'm like, well, I just did that. That was like, okay, that's what I crave, but I was resisting it. Like it's like, oh, you're here and you're doing it, and you're like, it's like when I did daycare, I absolutely loved it. It sounds to me, I can't imagine that I did it because I was a different, right now it seems crazy, but I literally once it wasn't good, like once I didn't want to be that crotchety old lady that like was grumpy doing daycare. And as soon as I started to notice that I was not in that energy, I pivoted. And then like I worked as an educational assistant. And when I didn't want to be one of those people that like, oh, these kids, I hate it. I'm going to work. I pivoted. I worked in group homes, same thing. Like there was a negative kind of energy. Ugh, I just can't do that. Like even when I left my business, like I didn't want to. I'm still proud. I'd never looked at it from this lens until now, but I'm like leaving that partnership crushed me. It was another Phoenix moment. It took me like 4 years, maybe even 5 to heal from that. I'm just so proud now because I look at myself and go, hell, girl, you are doing it right. Whereas before I was like, oh my God, I can't stick with anything. I just move on. I just move on. I just move on. And so now I'm like, wait, this is what everyone needs to know. You can pivot, you can change, you can grow. Any wisdom I have of constantly pivoting is come to you, come back to you. You have wisdom. Your body has wisdom. Your experiences have wisdom. We aren't trained to let that be our leadership.
Are you ready to turn your chaos into calm? Subscribe and follow the business flow formula. Let's create more profit, efficiency, and flow together.